What's good, beautiful people? I'm the Black Thumb, and this is my man's
Ayati.
And welcome to New to the Game podcast, the podcast for the casual NBA fan.
Now, the casual NBA fan is more interested in the fashion, the culture, the music, the drama. All right, T, what we talking about today?
An update on Diddy. So, as it relates to his case and his pending criminal trial in May of 2025, there hasn't really been a whole lot of movement since the last time we did an update. However, TMZ has been all over this story from the very beginning, and they have a trilogy documentary.
A trilogy.
They have like a limited documentary series that really chronicles the beginning and kind of the rumblings around Diddy, the actual indictment of Diddy, and they most recently released their most recent release was the freak offs, and so they talked they spilling all the tea, and it was kind of cool because they interviewed folks on both sides of the aisle, so folks that were vehemently in Diddy's corner, attorneys, lawyers, close friends, and folks that were potentially involved or potentially taken advantage of in these situations.
So they tried to keep it fair.
So they tried to keep it fair. So it was actually, I felt like a pretty good a relatively middle of the aisle representation of what is happening. But essentially in this most recent release where they talked about the freak offs, there were lots of allegations that were kind of rehashed and talked about, from sex trafficking. And what was one of the more telling things for me was some of the charges around, like, kind of not child pornography. I guess there could be child pornography, but just sexual encounters with underaged people. Number one, did you get a chance to watch it? And if not, have you seen any clips or any of those things? And what are your initial thoughts around what's been...
First off, I have not seen it. I saw announcements of it. Only thing I've been seeing is Ray J's, I guess, segment of it, where he's getting interviewed by, what's his name? The guy from TMZ?
Harvey something.
Yeah, he's interviewing Ray J, and he's asking him questions. That's the one that's been buzzing, because I guess Ray J is, like, inferring things.
So...
that's all I've seen.
Okay, so let's
at this point, Ray J got me like, at first I was like, okay, Ray J's credible, and now he's just getting into so much shit. I'm starting to think that he just out here clout chasing a little bit.
Okay, and this is...
He's taking advantage of the moment.
Yeah,
to stay relevant.
So Ray J started his interview as a relatively credible interviewee, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, and he came out very strong for Diddy. And it was almost like he was mad that he didn't get invited to the freak offs. I'm dead ass, bro. I'm so serious. Like, because he was like, I've never been to a freak off. I never got an invite. Like, he was like, you could tell like he was a little bit in his feelings. And he was
I'm the freak. Like,
yeah. And Harvey was like, she was like, yeah, the fact that you and Kim Kardashian did this very, very popular sex tape that really kind of launched her career. It obviously helped you, get to places as well and set some things up for yourself. He was like, you've never been? He was like, I never got an invite. And he was like, almost like, if anybody deserves an invite, it's my motherfucking ass.
He got FOMO.
So I think he was a little bit, so he was like, so if I wasn't there, like, it was kind of like he was like, if I wasn't there, then it didn't happen. Okay. There's no way it's possible
his
that
narcissism, ego jump.
Correct. So he was, but it came off like he was defending Diddy. Okay, and like very like adamantly like in Diddy's corner.
You think that was intentional though? Like maybe it came off an accident. Like he ain't trying to like defend a pedophile. Like, he came out very adamant that he's against all that shit. And it's like, how you coming off that you trying to protect this motherfucker?
I don't know. So it was a weird kind of like, is he doing this because he feels like there's no way this would have happened? Like he doesn't feel like he feels like the strength of him and Diddy's relationship was so strong that if these types of things was happening, he would have been at least privy to it, or would have known that they were going on, and he would have had the option to participate or not participate. Now, he did say in that he was like, like, I'm not the type of person that like wants to have sex with my homeboys right there. I'm not the type of person that's really trying to have sex in those types of situations, which is why I never have been to one or didn't get an invite. That's kind of how he played it off. But to me, it felt like he was a little bit more in his feelings that he didn't get the invite. And almost trying to make it seem like Puff or, Diddy knew that, oh, well, he doesn't like to have sex in front of a bunch of people. But it's like, but bro, you did that. You did it privately, but then released it publicly. So, like, what is the real difference between what's happening in these freak-offs compared to what you did with Kim Kardashian? I mean, outside of what may or may not have been consensual, right? Yeah. Allegedly. So, but then towards the end, to your point, he kind of flipped the script and was like, motherfuckers is coming to me and confiding in me about some of the things that they were doing at these parties that I wasn't involved in or ever a part of. And to me, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would, if you weren't there, and I don't know, I mean, like, maybe I know you really, really well, but if you weren't there and I have some shit that I'm trying to hide that happened there, why the fuck am I going to tell somebody that wasn't there to hold this secret for me, knowing good and goddamn well that this motherfucker made a fair amount of his fame from being ratchet and doing messy things, which is exactly what he did in this interview. So it felt like he was swinging back and forth on a pendulum from one side to the other. It was like 1 minute he was defending Diddy, the next minute he wasn't. Yeah. And so it was like, so to me, he wasn't very credible, in my opinion.
The only thing I can take from it that I can probably just from own personal experience is being that person that for some reason people tell you shit that you be like, why are you telling me this? I'm that person in my family and usually in my friend circles. I know shit that one party doesn't know, that this party shouldn't know, and I know both parties, and I'm like the conduit of carrying a burden of like, fuck, I'm the friend of both of you motherfuckers.
Okay, that's fair.
And I know some shit, and it does give you a certain type of weight. But unfortunately, now that I've been in therapy, I realized that I was playing a therapist role. Because a therapist is going to be carrying a bunch of secrets for people that they just don't reveal.
That's fair.
But they can compartmentalize that shit or just leave it in notes and it doesn't affect their personal life because they don't have to interact with you motherfuckers. You aren't my friend. You my client.
Right.
So I think that's probably what he could be dealing with is that he really is probably got that personality that you be in the bar and next thing this motherfucker telling you, yeah, I killed like 3 people in the basement. You like, why the fuck are you telling me this shit? That type of shit. And I'm like, I don't know if it's like a type of vibe or energy that you exude, because I'm telling you, like, me and my girl be going to Target, and I try to have the don't fuck with me face. Stranger just comes up and want to just give me their whole life, and I'm looking like, and I give them like, why are you telling me this shit face? Like, I give them the shock, like, what the fuck? And it just keeps coming. So maybe that's what he's dealing with, and like people who aren't already that person you won't get it, but he shouldn't be saying it on a public platform. Like, hey, these motherfuckers come, especially with this type of shit.
Well, I mean, he even said it. He was like, dang, I said too much, but he was like, well, fuck it. Like, I already,
now people be wanting to know.
I already said it. So
and
it's
the people that told you, like, motherfucker, I told you, because like you the type of person who don't tell shit.
But that's what the thing, like, that's what I don't know.
But maybe that's where he had in his mental health process that they probably tell him, you don't have to keep carrying these people's shit.
That's possible.
Because it's giving him trouble.
Yeah.
He's like, damn. But it's because it's a boundary problem. Like, we don't know how to reinforce boundaries. Like, just shut that shit down. As soon as they start, I don't want to hear that shit.
I don't want to be held responsible.
I'm starting to do that. Or I just come off with a witty response. Like, okay, so let me give you an example. So we was going to a bar over here in Long Beach called the Blind Donkey. It was after my surgery. It was a Wednesday, so it was a random day of the week. Mm-hmm. My boy was like, hey, let's go to the bar. I'm like, all right, cool. Wednesday, I'm like, they're doing karaoke and shit? It's a bunch of people here on a Wednesday. It's tripping me out. So we enjoying watching everybody do their song. And this one dude was singing this Childish Gambino song. I don't know if you remember 3005. It's a song, that song. So you know the hook, he be like, F them other N-words, that part of the song. So there's a white dude singing the song. And he censored himself out from saying the N-word. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of impressed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I see you doing your thing. You ain't offending us up in this motherfucker. So I'm just, just in my own little world, just watching the dude do his karaoke. And this white boy come walking by. And out of all the people in my group with my electrician homies, he gonna come to me and say, man, it's kind of cool, our homeboy over there censoring himself out with that N-word and shit, huh? And I looked and I was like, so did I have a face to say, come say this?
Yeah.
Like, so I just immediately say, why the fuck you coming talking to me about this bullshit? He's like, well, I mean, you know. I was like, you know what? And he just like stuttered and shit. Well, I'm about to do Brandy next. And he just was flustered on his words and shit. And I'm like, why? And my boy Eddie, he a Mexican dude, he kind of dark. He got a mysterious ethnicity. I point him like, man, this motherfucker might be the Dominican or some shit. Why you go up and talk to him? Well, I don't know. Just stuttering over his words and shit. And I was like, you know, I'm just fucking with you, man. I was like, we ain't here in the bar and shit. I just want to give you a little bullshit. It is what it is. And then he just kind of went on his thing. Fast forward, I didn't know this motherfucker about to do his song next. I'm in the front. It's a small bar. Mm-hmm. He go up here to do this Brandy song, and I'm just staring at him and shit. He's just fucking this whole song. He can't get comfortable. He can't do his shit. He told the DJ to change the song. He had to do like some kind of like some like
with some No Doubt or some Green Day or some shit.
No, it was like this old school rapper like because I got high. Like he had to do some song that
that would disarm everybody. That's great.
And I was like, but to me, that's an example of enforcing your boundaries. Like, just shut that shit down early. Like, you ain't got to take this shit. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, I'm here with the homies, I'm in the bar and shit. I know that this is what's happening, but you ain't a black dude. You ain't got to, I know what's going on. Yeah. You ain't got to, like, hey, look at that shit.
We don't need your commentary, sir.
Shut your ass up. So it's like, sometimes, maybe that's what Ray J need to do. Like, people coming in with shit that he really don't need to be hearing right now. When they come in with this Diddy shit, like, he needs to just funnily shut that shit the fuck down. I mean, so he don't have to carry this fucking burden around.
Especially if he wasn't there. It'd be different if he was in the building when these things were happening, and it's like, okay, like, we gotta get our stories right. We gotta figure this out. You know what I'm like? Yeah. That I understand. But like for him to not be there, and that's why the credibility for me was a little bit like, is he doing this shit just for? Just to your point, for clout? Is he doing this shit for just being more public facing in this moment? Like what is he promoting? Is there another product coming up?
He could be. He's a promoting guy. So I think it is. But then from just a regular person perspective, I could see where the burden to come in if this is a friend telling you some shit that you probably should go tell the police.
Yeah, that's fair.
And now you torn. Yeah. You're like, damn, should I do the right thing, which is go get this motherfucker thrown under the bus, but I consider these people friends, and it's the whole no snitching code. No, it's just a bunch of things that he's probably grappling with, and he's also in the public sphere, and it's just a bunch of shit going in 2024 right now, and it's just stressful. And everybody says, is he off his meds? I'm like, damn, don't be playing with the mental health shit right now. People are really going through shit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whether they on the top or the bottom, and I'm like, he's just trying to
figure it out.
He's trying to figure it out. And I'm like, maybe that's what this brother dealing with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that could be a hell of a burden. Yeah. Like, you literally got told some shit. You like, man, if I go tell this shit, this motherfucker gone. Like, then he gone. He probably thinking like, man, I don't want to have that type of responsibility.
That's fair.
That they be like, now Ray J got him away.
Yeah.
Because and then these people that probably didn't want to be public gonna have to come forward. That's the only way to corroborate the evidence.
I think that's the other thing. That was like one of my biggest takeaways. Obviously, we can talk more about some of the allegations that came out of this freak off, documentary. Maybe we'll save that for the next Diddy update.
Okay.
But I think for me, like, and we talked about this probably from the very beginning, or at least I've been saying this from the very beginning. I think it sounds like there are going to be folks in the triple digits. I think I genuinely believe now that means that they're gonna have to sift through a bunch of stories and a bunch of testimony and all of those things to kind of separate what, and I don't even want to say separate what's real versus what isn't, is separate what they can actually what will actually pass in a court of law, right? Like I never want to say that, you know, what you were saying happened to you didn't happen to you. But like, unfortunately, in our justice system, there is the burden of proof for these things, and I think that's what's going to be a little bit tricky for some of these folks that had incidents in the 90s and in the early 2000s, before cell phones were really rampant and before kind of this social media era. Yeah. But I think it's what's going to be most interesting to me is, outside of, you know, victims getting justice and getting what they should get, which is hopefully justice and some money. Is who else was intimately involved in these things, and what level of people were those folks? Are these politicians? Are these princes and royalty in other countries? Are these, you know, people in the music industry, people in Hollywood, other artists? So it'll be interesting to see just how big this web is and how far it expands. And again, Diddy has a story to tell. Yeah. Diddy is going to testify. Like,
did some of them people come on this documentary though? Like, was it some pretty big people on the documentary?
So like Stevie J, his best friend and producer, he was on there, but he's not big. Ray J was on there. There was another like small singer songwriter who went to a freak off and didn't know that it was a freak off, just went to a Diddy party, showed up at 7 a.m. and she was just like, it was just like naked people everywhere. Everybody looked like they were on drugs. She even was, and she was saying, like, she didn't flat out say it, but she alluded to the fact that there may have been children there. So again, I think it's going to be a lot of things that are going to be happening. They alluded to the Justin Bieber Diddy connection multiple times, and just like watching some of those interviews back and how cringy it feels and how cringy it looks. And with these new allegations with potentially like underaged, minors and commercial sex trafficking, all of those things, it's gonna get interesting, and it's gonna get nasty, bro, and not in a good way. But we will keep you all updated on the newest and latest things that are happening around the Diddy saga.
Yep. We'll give our take. We'll give
our reactions, and we'll also share the news as it's happening. But so buckle up, because this buckle up, because this shit is gonna be crazy. Our episode for today. Make sure you go out and like, subscribe, share, comment. Interact with us. Let us know how you feel about the content of today's episode. Also, let us know if you are interested in any of the plant things that we discussed today. Just let us know what's good. And with that being said, Ayati,
stay casual.